Hi and welcome everybody to episode 45 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy, COVID-free. And we've got another great show in store for you today. But before I go any further, it's my great pleasure to introduce my co-host, resident expert, Mr. Big C. Curtis. You're in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Cheers, everyone.
You're looking great spirits, man. What you got in that cup?
Oh, that's the water, man. I'm still hungover from the party time we've been having the last few days. Woo! Feels good, man. Feels good right now to be an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So tell the people what you've been up to, bro.
Jeez, I've just been putting content out on the channel. You know, it was mad that last day, obviously, when all the news broke. And yeah, man, just going to the gym, doing my workouts. Although, you know, I won't be going to that Pure Gym in Luton for obvious reasons. I
was going to ask you about that because for those of you who don't know, Curtis lives in that vicinity where that whole storm broke. And well, I've been following that. And well, I first got told about it yesterday and I could not believe it, that somebody could feel that was okay to post something like that, especially in this day and age. But hey, man, I think the less said about that.
Yeah.
I think we should swerve that one for now. But yeah, man. So anyway, it's good to see that you're all right, bro. And I hope everybody else is out there. We've got, like I said, we've got a great show lined up for you today. So we're going to move swiftly on to our news and notes section. So I guess, what should we start with? The Europa League draw took place last week, didn't it? That was last show. Yeah. And we now know that we've been paired with, well, not paired with, we're in a group with the mighty Dundalk from Ireland, the mighty Molde from Norway, and the mighty Rapid Vienna from Austria. So what was your thoughts on that?
I mean, first of all, it's a shame that fans can't go to them games because there's some nice trips there. You know, Ireland's always a good little trip, and Vienna apparently a very nice city as well. So it's a shame from a footballing point of view. I think, you know, that's a nice draw for us. We should be able to win that group without, you know, playing a Aubameyang, or, you know, it's a good opportunity for the young players to develop. So I fully expect us to win that group and win most of them, if not all of them games. So happy with the draw.
All right, that's good. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I mean, it's not the most challenging of draws, I've got to say. And that's disrespect to the team's concerned. But looking at that, you would imagine that Arsenal will certainly look to finish top of that group. I'll leave it like that. Right, in other news then, we learned this week that the Arsenal matchday mascot, the Gunnersaurus, aka Jerry Quay, he got made redundant along with a lot of other staff at Arsenal. And then we heard later that Mesut Ozil, our friend Mesut Ozil, he chipped in with an offer of fantastic philanthropy, offered to pay this guy's wages while, get this, while Ozil still remains at the club. I thought that was interesting, he should say that. Yeah, just your thoughts on that. Do you think it was a gesture of great philanthropy? Or was it a clever, and some would say even a sinister, charm offensive move by Mr. Ozil to play against the club? What do you think? What's your thought?
I mean, I heard he was flying over the Emirates like Superman, like with an O on his chest. Man's a superhero now, you know what I mean? But I have to admit, and I hate being pessimistic about things because I consider myself, you know, optimistic person in life. But the minute I saw it, I thought, that is some PR work there, bruv. I'm telling you. I mean, first of all, what's so special about Gunnersaurus from anyone else that got made redundant? You didn't want to help none of them. So why him? And then second of all, why are you making it public? I mean, sometimes people do want to be acknowledged for what they've done, and I get that. And I suppose his heart is in the right place with what he's doing. You're keeping someone in employment. So he does have to be praised for that. It's just when Ozil does things, you kind of look at things and think, well, why is he doing that? And what is he gaining from doing that? So I took it with a pinch of salt, if you like. And I'm not sure Arsenal would have taken that in the most positive way, because it kind of creates a little bit more friction between them and him, really. So, hey, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I kind of felt like you that it was a bit of a PR exercise, a bit of a charm offensive. But I'm not sure if it's on the if it's on the charm offensive end or it's on the more sinister end of it. I think it's more lighter touch.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards giving him the benefit of the doubt, but it's certainly a smack of a PR thing, you know what I mean? And like you said, when you get people publicising it like that, and like I said, when in the initial statement that he released with the offer, he said, as well as I'm an Arsenal player.
yeah. So if they get rid of him next week, he stops playing the man's
to go in the next couple of months. Does he withdraw the offer then? I don't know.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Well, moving on then, because we've got a lot to get through. Game reviews, and we're going to go through those very quickly because obviously those games are gone and there's other stuff to talk about. But since the last show, Arsenal have been involved in 2 games. Yeah. The first of which was in the Carabao Cup against Liverpool, which, let's be honest, man, there wasn't too much to say about the game at normal time, but we got the win 5-4 on penalties. Thanks mainly to Bert Leno, who I thought was outstanding throughout the game. Yeah. And then also saved the penalties from Divock Origi and Harry Wilson. So your thoughts on that game very quickly?
As you said, the 90 minutes was nothing to write home about, but I think Leno needed a game like that. Of course, there's been a lot of talk of Martinez and him and this, that, the other. So I think that really cemented him as our number one and you know, restored the faith of everyone. So he was brilliant. Thought Gabriel was superb. Again, everyone was saying, why did he not play in the league game? And, you know, it's a cup competition, so the result is more important than the performance. So happy to get through, man.
Yeah. My thoughts entirely. And it was good to see Pepe come on and get some minutes in that game. Yeah. I know we're going to talk about him a little bit more, but yeah, like you're so right, man. I mean, at the end of the day, cup game, the result is all important. We got the win through to the next round. Got a tough game again in the next round. So, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, job done. Yeah, well done. Yeah. So the second game then, 2-1 home win. Sheffield United again in normal time. It wasn't much to write home about in terms of performance, especially in the first half. But goals by Saka and that man Pepe in the second half got us the win. I see your boy got on a scoring sheet then. Again, because I remember we spoke on the previous show. And for those of you who don't know, Curtis Shaw and Eddie McGoldrick are good mates. And I know you
David McGoldrick. David McGoldrick.
David McGoldrick, sorry, yeah. I think we had McGoldrick that used to play for Arsenal many
there
years
was, years ago,
Yeah, so he played and he scored like he said he would when he spoke to you a couple of days before the game. And it was a good goal as well, actually. He had a good game. And that meant we were kind of holding on. If you believe it, towards the end of that game, we were actually like, you know,
hanging on, yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, we got there in the end. So tell us your thoughts on that.
I mean, the first 45 minutes, I mean, wow. That first half was dull to say the least. But second half, what I liked about it, I've been looking for Arteta to change the tactics, especially against teams who are not as good at attacking. And he did that in the second half, put Willian into the 10, him and Saka interchanging, Pepe on the right, moved Aubameyang to the middle, which I couldn't believe. Like, it's like Arteta's forgotten that Aubameyang can play through the middle, you know. He scored 39 goals for Dortmund in the season before he joined Arsenal, playing striker, yet everyone seems to think he can't play through the middle, which he can. And it changed everything with that change, you know. Willian was linking up with Pepe, Ceballos was getting on the ball. Pepe, fantastic when he came on, showed that killer instinct that we've been looking for from him. Not only that, I mean, at one point I saw him run back and block a cross that went out for the corner. And honestly, I celebrated it almost as much as the goal because I was like, that's what I'm talking about, bruv. Like, if you want to be a success at Arsenal, you've got to, you know, really work hard and make things happen. So credit to Pepe. I thought Gabriel was immense again. He's really settled in well. And again, you know, it was another big victory for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Concur with that all the way. You know what? With the Pepe thing, and I know we've spoken about this before, but I'm slightly different to some people I've spoken to. I think that Pepe has not been as bad as he's been portrayed in many circles and by some people. And I also think that I feel a bit sorry for him because he hasn't been given the minutes that he would have thought he would have got. You know what I mean? So He's always on the bench. He's always coming on, trying to impact the game. And it can't be easy to do that all the time. So I was especially pleased for him, seeing him coming off the bench and impacting the game so well. And of course, he scored a brilliant goal. Brilliant. And I think that going forward, the manager needs to show him a bit more love. I'm not saying that you've got to play just because he costs 70-odd million, just because he has a reputation. But I honestly do feel that someone like Pepe is a confidence player. And I think by benching him all the time and bringing him on with 10, 15 minutes to go, you're not exactly helping the guy's confidence. He's a young guy. He's trying to get used to new surroundings, learn the language and fit into the culture of the team and everything else. I think he just needs an arm around him at times and show him some love, you know what I mean? I'm not saying he should get special treatment per se, but just, you know what I mean, show him a bit of love, man. Embrace the guy a bit more and make him feel wanted, make him feel that special player that we know he can be. And he'll perform. He's got the ability. We've seen it in this game. We saw glimpses of it in the Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup. And indeed, we saw it last season when he did similar things, came on and scored vital goals for us. So I was pleased for him, man. And a good result, man. I mean, at the end of the day, that win moves us up to 4th. We've got 9 points from 4 games, 3 wins, just the 1 defeat, which was against Liverpool. So, yeah, it's been a good start. Yeah,
good start, man.
Yeah, okay. Right, so moving on again then to our main topic of the day. Given all that's happened,
say his name. Just say his name. That's all we're waiting for, man.
I've got to build up to it, man. I've got to build up to it.
All right, I'll let you go.
I know I'm going to get stick just by putting this out there. I know, man, are going to come at me, so that's why I'm trying to.
All right.
I'm trying to get there. Yeah, let me land, man. Let me land.
I'll let you land. I'll let you land.
So yeah, so with all the travails, all the back and forth, and everything that's gone on with regards to the transfer window and that transfer window duly ended on Monday night. And it ended on a very positive note indeed, given that we was able to sign a man that most of the fans anyway wanted to sign from day one. As soon as we heard we were being connected with him, the whole fan base, well, maybe not all of them, but most of them were like, yeah, we've got to get this guy into the club. That guy being Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. And when we got the news, in fact, you called me, didn't you, on Monday afternoon and said, you know what, this looks like it might happen. The whole place just went crazy, man. It was a madness, you know what I mean? Right. So when we did actually sign him, man, the vibes around the club, it just went crazy. And I've got to say, man, the man Stan Kroenke, has he gone from 0 to hero? So my question to you, Curtis Shaw, is, and the topic of today is, does this signing of Partey mean that we should finally put some respect on Stan Kroenke's name? So there you go, bro. Let's start cooking. What you got to say about that?
I mean, look, the Thomas Partey deal by itself is an unbelievable deal for Arsenal, because for me, Partey is a player that if that release clause wasn't in his contract, I think he's a 60 or 70 million pound player. I think we've actually got him at least 15, 20 million cheaper than what he's worth because of that clause. So the deal by itself is incredible. I mean, we were celebrating. Everyone was happy about it. Stan Kroenke overall, I think, has still got a long way to go before I fully respect him as an owner. I think we've got to look at facts, to be honest. We've spent around 70 million this summer. If you look at the deal for Gabriel and Thomas Partey, we got Willian on a free. We also sold Martinez.
Sorry, can I just ask you to go back a step, because I think we had a bit of a technical issue then.
Oh, yeah, go on.
I think you were saying we've spent. So if you go back to that.
Yeah. So I was saying, yeah, we've spent 70 million altogether this summer. With Gabriel and Partey. Now, when you finished 8th in the Premier League last season, which we have to be honest, you know, we finished 43 points behind Liverpool last season. That is a big gap to bridge. I still think that we could have and should have spent more money in this window. Now, I know people will point to the pandemic. I know people will say there's no fans in the ground, etc., etc. But we've seen clubs smaller than us, lower than us, spend a lot more money than us this season. We're trying to catch these teams. There's no financial fair play this summer. So I even think Kroenke should have even turned around to Arteta and said, look, you know what? This market is very difficult. You look at the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, they've hardly signed anybody. So this is a good market for a buyer. If you've actually got money in this market, you can go and get a lot of top players. I think he should have even said to Arteta, look, do you know what? I'm going to give you a very good budget in this window, but next year you're going to have to rely on what you sell, or you may even have to pay me some of that money back. But I felt like this was a great opportunity for Arsenal to almost get a leg up on the other teams. I think we needed an Hour or someone like that as well as a Partey. I think Partey is an immense signing and we needed him. But I think we needed a ball-playing midfielder as well. I would have also looked at a right-back. I know Hector Bellerin's improved slightly, but I still think we could have taken another step up there. So I don't forget what Kroenke's done over the years as well, you know, making us sell our top player year after year, not buying players, you know, like when we've needed strikers over the years and we missed out on Suarez and Higuain and all these players. So I'm seeing shoots of improvement. I like the fact that Arteta's being back to a certain extent. The Aubameyang renewal, Martinelli and Saka, they were positives. We're moving in the right direction. But Kroenke, for me, has still got a long way to go. And I think he could have backed Arteta more this summer to give us a better chance of top four. So shoots of improvement, but a long way to go for me.
Well, okay, yeah, listen, you raised some very salient points there. So let's take a little run through, because, I mean, listen, at the start of the window, we were very hopeful that we were going to get some proper players in. And I must admit, that kind of early optimism was fading day by day because we were being linked with all these players and nothing seemed to be happening. No. And as it went on, we were actually getting quite depressed about it, you know. But if we look at the signings that have come in, and I made a little list of them, so I've got the receipts in front of me. So we've got George Lewis on a free, the Cedric we had a while ago, that was on a free. Pablo Mari, 7.2 million. Then we had the Martinelli contract extension. We sorted out Dani Ceballos, the loan deal. Then we got Gabriel, 25 mil. That's proven to be a very good buy. We sorted out Bukayo Saka's contract, so he got an extension on that. Then the big contract extension was Aubameyang, right? Then we sold Emi, but then we brought in Alex Runnison, and then Partey. So looking at that, I mean, that was a few players coming in, man. I mean, that's more than what the likes of Man United have had coming in. And I looked at our spend and our net spend, and I think you'd said something like 70 odd million. My calculations were that we'd spent about 80 odd million. And I think we were the 6 high spenders behind Man City, Aston Villa, Leeds, Wolves, and Liverpool.
Chelsea as well.
Yeah, sorry, Chelsea were at the top. Sorry, yeah. So,
the top, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not too bad, really, is it?
I mean, the thing is, you got to 80 because you added Pablo Mari and that. Yeah, I was not really adding them, but yeah.
And you got to look at that we did secure the services of Aubameyang. I mean, one point it was looking like Aubameyang might go. So some would say that was like a new signing in itself.
Yeah. No, that was a huge deal for the club. I mean, look, like I said, progress. I'd probably give the window maybe a 7 out of 10. I think it was a good window. I still think, you know, the fact that we've weakened our goalkeeping situation in the fact that if Leno was to get an injury, touch wood, he doesn't. You know, we've gone from Martinez as backup to Gunnersaurus. We don't know much about this kid. He was second choice at a pretty average team in France. You know, I would be very worried if Leno got injured. So that's a fragile situation. They got to wrap him up in cotton wool. So, look, I'm positive. I think we ended the window great. Like you said, Aubameyang, Saka, Martinelli, they were great renewals. We didn't really move many players out, which I suppose they couldn't really help. Nobody wanted these guys. So, but we finished positive. We finished with a bang. We got the biggest signing of the window at the end. So, as I say, positive, but still work to be done. You know, I still can't say hand on heart, this squad will definitely get top 4 this season. I think we've got a much, much better chance with Partey coming in and keeping Aubameyang, but it's still touch and go with what happens with the top 4 race.
Yeah, you stole my thunder a little bit there. You preempted what I was going to say. That was going to be my next question. I was going to say, with this squad that Arteta's assembling, do you think that we can mount a meaningful challenge? I mean, because let's be honest, you've only got to look at the results over the weekend, man. There's some wacky football being played at the moment. You know what I mean? Dynamics changed. I mean, I don't know if it's because the crowds are not back or whatever.
Yeah.
Could it be another year like years ago when Leicester won the title? You've seen the start that Everton have made. Could the portents be there for somebody to just blindside everybody and do what Leicester did a few years ago and just come from nowhere and win it? You know what I mean? And could that Leicester of a few years ago be us or Everton this year? You just don't know, really, do you? Because I mean, look,
it's different.
For those results at the weekend.
I mean, I look at our next
getting absolutely thrashed by Villa, and then United getting totally humbled and demoralised by Tottenham on their own ground. So,
I think when you look at our next 3 games, we've got Man City away, Leicester at home, Man United away. That will really be the benchmark of where we are over these next 3 games. You know, we need to go to one of these top 4, top 6 teams and beat them at their own ground.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But do you think the squad that he's assembling, given the fact that we got Partey now, and given the fact that there's no doubt about it, but Arteta has improved both the mentality and the playing abilities of a lot of the guys at the club. Do you kind of share the optimism that I'm having at the moment that we could do something positive this season?
I think we can. If he sets us up right and our better players perform, I think the only thing that makes me think it still be difficult is I still think there's weaknesses in our team. You know, I still look at the midfield partner of Thomas Partey. If you put a Xhaka or El Neni in there, you know, the difference is quite big. Bellerin at right back, we need him to improve. You know, you've still got a David Luiz maybe next to Gabriel. He's very up and down. You don't know what you're going to get. But look, looking at the other teams, you can see these problems. I don't rate Solskjaer at all. I think Man U could have a very up and down season. City look weaker than they've looked for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if Pep left in the summer. Chelsea have signed a lot of players. You know, it can be difficult to blend that many players. So if we can keep consistent, use the system right, get the best out of our better players, there's no reason we can't get top 4. So it's on Arteta to perform this year. It's a big year for him as a manager.
Yeah. So, but do you think then that the board have backed him sufficiently with the players that we brought into the club? I mean, I know obviously you did say that there were 1 or 2 more you could have liked to have seen come in, but do you think, given that list that I read out and the players that we have already, do you think that he's been given the backing required in order for him to secure a top 4 place?
I mean, the thing is, if I'm looking at the list, George Lewis, you know, he's with the 23s. Cedric and Pablo Mari, to me, are squad players, nothing more really. If you're looking at the starting 11, we've really added Gabriel and Partey to it, who are big signings, you know, an imposing centre-back and a big centre midfielder. So, yeah, I think they've given him just about enough. I would say it's sufficient what they've given him. If I was being greedy, I would have liked 1 or 2 more. But we've addressed areas that needed addressing. I think that's more important. It's not so much about buying loads of players. We've bought the right players in the right positions with Gabriel and Partey. So there's enough there to get top 4.
Yeah, you know what? I would agree with that. Because, listen, I mean, let's take, for example, the signing of Gabriel. I mean, he's been outstanding so far, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's really making us look solid at the back. And I'm looking at the team now, and I'm a lot more energized by what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? We just look a lot more a together unit, for want of a better word. We look more resilient. We're not always playing the best football, funny enough.
No.
There was a stat we spoke about on the show last week about us being in the bottom end in terms of creating chances on goals. So obviously that's got to improve. Which is why a lot of people were looking at the possible signing as OR as addressing that perceived lack of creativity in midfield. How do you think that's all going to play out now that we got Partey there? Do you even see a potential comeback for our friend, Mr. Ozil, Mr. Gunnersaurus?
Well, you know what? Maybe he can be Gunnersaurus. You know, maybe he can put it on and run around the Emirates.
No, but in all seriousness, though, I mean, listen, I was very keen to note that Arteta has not sort of totally displaced him, has he? He's basically said if he can work hard and do the right things, he can get back in the team, which is what you seem to be saying. So
yeah, I mean, first of all, looking at it, you was going back there to the midfield. I would like to see us play 4-3-3 now with Partey coming in. Sometimes maybe 3 at the back against the better teams when you're trying to hit them on the break. But I think we need to control the midfield more now. I would love to see a midfield 3 of Partey with Ceballos next to him, because I think Ceballos is the best ball-playing midfielder that we've got. And then I would like to see either Willian or Saka in that number 10 role rather than Ozil. I think you need somebody a lot more dynamic now who can run, who can break the lines. One of those two for me in that role. And then in terms of Ozil, I mean, it's interesting because I was saying to you yesterday, we've got 19 non-homegrown players in our squad. You can only actually register 17 in the Premier League, which means 2 first-team players are going to be left out of the Premier League altogether until January. Now, we've got 8 centre-backs at the club, which we don't need. I would expect maybe Socrates or someone like that to be left out. Could Mesut Ozil be left out of the Premier League squad altogether, which is unbelievable when the guy's on $350 a week? I mean, me personally, I would include him in the squad because if the window's closed, you've got him until at least January. You're going to have to use him at some point. He can be effective in certain games, maybe off the bench. So it's going to be interesting what happens. I think they've got to register them this week for the Premier League and next week for the Europa League. So that's going to be big news.
It's going to be big news, yeah. You're right about Ceballos, though. He's looked really good recently.
He has.
Yeah. But we do need some creativity in there, some extra creativity in there. And personally, I mean, we've said things about Ozil on the show in humour and, you know, and more serious. He does need to check himself. But listen, if he can find his way back into the team on merit, I think he does. His ability does bring certain things to the team that we need, you know. So personally, I'd like to see him force his way back into the side because it would be mutually beneficial for all because he does bring certain talents that we do need, which at the moment we do appear to be lacking in. But while we're on that, tell the people what they can expect from Thomas Partey.
He's a beast. He is a beast.
YouTube clips in the games. I know you don't play games against us, but so for the uninitiated, tell the people what they can expect now we got Thomas Partey.
I mean, first of all, he's not a defensive midfielder as such. I mean, he does protect and break up play, but he's very much box to box. He likes to attack. He scored, I think he scored over 10 goals for Ghana. Sometimes Ghana actually operate him in an attacking role. But he's very versatile. He's even played centre-back for Atletico Madrid before. He's 6'2". He's strong. He's powerful, dynamic. He's improved massively in the last couple of years on the ball. You know, playing in the league, or very tactical league under Simeone. You know, he is an animal. 27 years of age, experienced, reads the game well. The kind of player we've needed for probably 10 or 15 years since Vieira left the club. I mean, we've had a few false dawns, you know, the Flaminis, the Alex Songs, the Lucas Torreiras. They've done all right for periods of time, but they've never really been the answer in there. We always seem to be able to get bullied. So I think now we've got our own bully in there, you know, and then having Gabriel behind him, I think that makes us a different unit. Everyone's talking about that spine of the team now, you know, Leno, Gabriel, Partey, Aubameyang. That is real quality through the middle. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism this year for Arsenal fans. Could be a good year for us.
You've certainly whet the appetite with that glowing endorsement, you know what I mean?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, man.
No, but on the times I've seen him, man, my sense echo what you said there. I mean, he looks a fantastic player. And as you also alluded to earlier, a lot of people are drawing comparisons, and perhaps it's a bit early to do so, but with one Patrick Vieira. So if he can be as even 70% of what Vieira was, he's going to be behind it. Yeah. So I'm genuinely excited to see how he's going to fit into that midfield and how he's going to run things. But he would appear Premier League ready, didn't he? He looks built for the Premier League.
Yeah,
and
he's ready.
Because I was looking at some stuff the other day on the internet, and I came across an article that somebody had written speaking to Kieran Trippier, who of course was a teammate with Atletico Madrid, and he described him as incredible. And he said that, you know, there's few players like him in the world. And he said that the closest person he'd seen to him was Moussa Dembele. He played for Tottenham, and he said he's up there with the likes of Moussa Dembele. So, and I remember thinking, me and you had talked about Moussa Dembele before, haven't you?
All
he plays, and the also people watching out there probably would have heard what's his name, Danny Murphy, isn't he? He's the TV pundit, and he speaks in glowing terms of Moussa Dembele as probably one of the best midfielders he ever played with. So, you know, that ilk, then we could start to get excited, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Josh said be excited, didn't he, a year ago? You know, maybe he could see the future that this deal was going to happen. But I can't wait to see him play, man. I mean, I wish it wasn't the international break now, actually, because really want to see him in an Arsenal shirt. Yeah,
absolutely. And just to touch on, you mentioned Lucas Torreira. You mentioned him when you was talking about Thomas Partey. We now know that he's one of those guys going the other way. He's going to Atletico Madrid on loan. So what's your thoughts about him leaving finally?
Torreira, look, I think he
out the door, actually.
I think he's been a decent player. We got him for, 25 million. He's been good. He started really well. I think ultimately he never really settled off the pitch. I mean, he's constantly telling us, my dreams to go to Italy. Then he wanted Argentina. And, you know, I think he'll suit La Liga. You know, he's got a Uruguayan teammate there in Jimenez. Simeone's I think that will suit his type of play with that kind of manager. So he was a decent signing for Arsenal, but look, man, I think we've upgraded with the big man coming in. So, but good luck to him. You know, I can never question his commitment to the shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he'll do well there. And like you said, him being Uruguayan and be able to link up with a few Uruguayans. Certain Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
And that's reminded me, like, previously, Lucas Torreira has expressed that he wants to go to Italy. So if he does go to Italy and he wants any help with his Italian exam, I'm pretty sure that Luis Suarez will be able to provide him with some assistance on that.
Yeah, I know.
About goings, what was your thoughts on Matteo Guendouzi? He's on his way out now on loan to Hertha Berlin, and he seemed to have a little bit of a parting shot at Arteta, didn't he? Said he's going to a club now where he'll get some games and he's looking forward to showing his worth on the pitch. What was your thoughts on him going there?
Do you know what? The funny thing is, you know, when this started to happen last season, I actually thought this would get resolved. I got to be honest with you. I felt like, you know what, they'll have a meeting, he'll kind of fix up a bit and they'll resolve it, because he is a 21-year-old French international. You would see him as somebody who could have had a future and been a big asset to the club. Apparently, he turned down Hertha Berlin earlier in the summer on loan, because he probably thought at the time, I'll get a bigger move than that somewhere else. In the end, he's had to go back there and sort of say, okay, let's go and play football. So I'm not surprised he left. I think it's a shame the way that situation's unfolded, because, you know, a year or so ago, he was being linked with PSG for 40 million. You know, I thought he'll either be a top player for us or we'll sell him for big, big money. When this loan deal ends, he's only got a year left on his deal. So he's not going to cost a lot of money if he leaves next summer. So I think it's a shame the way this one has worked out for Arsenal. We're not going to get a lot of money for him, and we're not going to get him in an Arsenal shirt in the future, it would seem. So he kind of messed it up for himself. So we move on, I suppose.
But do we know what he actually did that was so egregious? I mean, listen, we all saw the fallout after the Brighton game, where he got into it with Mopé. But even then, that was with Mopé, wasn't it? I wasn't aware that. I'm pretty sure that Arteta wouldn't have been pleased with his on-field actions. But then some people in the Arsenal fan base were suggesting that, unlike some others, Guendouzi actually did stick up for his teammate. Now, people how they want to interpret how you're sticking up for your teammate. But has what he's done to date been that bad, or are there things we don't know about, mate? I mean,
I think
you told me something you had heard once about him distracting team meetings or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that I'd heard. But do you know what it is? I think it's more a case of maybe he's done nothing major, but I think it's constant petulance. You got to look at the fact Arteta's in his first job. He's come up from Pep Guardiola. You know, if you've seen the Man City documentary, you can see that Pep don't take no rubbish from no one.
Nobody talk. Sit down.
Nobody sit down. Do you know what I mean? So Arteta's probably saying, bro, I got enough problems to deal with here. I don't need you acting like a school kid, man. So I think that's how he's kind of looking at it. And, was what he's done any worse than what Granit Xhaka did when he did what he did to the fans? I don't know. But I just think Arteta looks here and thinks, maybe this kid ain't listening. So I've got to move him on. I need him out the door, which happens in football. And if players are playing up.
It's an interesting situation because I was hearing from somebody else in ATV, whose name I won't mention, but they were suggesting that he may have had, this is Guendouzi, may have had problems at his previous club. So it's something that tends to go with him.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
But I didn't hear of anything, and did you, of it particularly egregious that would warrant him being forced out in that way? So I'm assuming that something must have happened. I'm also looking at it like, a bit like what you alluded to a second ago when you was talking about it being Arteta's first job. And he's probably made an example of Guendouzi, and maybe Guendouzi's challenged him in certain ways.
Yeah.
And kind of used Guendouzi as an example to the others to say, listen, this is what happens when you mess around with me.
Yeah.
I guess putting yourself in Arteta's shoes, if you're just taking over a big job like Arsenal, and you're trying to make your own way in the club, and you've got this petulant teenager or young man challenging you at certain, and you're thinking to yourself, well, you know what, it's either him or me.
Yeah.
And it's going to be him. So I can see it in some ways, but in other ways, I'm a little disappointed that it's seemingly over at this point for Guendouzi, because I did recognise his talent. I mean, there was a time last year when he was one of our better players in that midfield.
Yeah.
People were talking about him in, quite high terms. So to see it all end like this is a bit sad, really. But
yeah,
here you go. But to bring it round then to full circle, I've got to ask you, man, my question, given the fact that we've spent this, what I calculated as 81.5 million, and net spend of, I think it's about 65, given the sale of Martinez and a couple of other things. Do you think then that Stan Kroenke's regained some status within the club?
I think
a bit of respect on his name, given all the things taken before. What?
I think a little bit. Yeah, no. I think a little bit. He has backed him at the end of the window there. He's made a big signing.
Interrupt. Maybe you think with this spending, he's given himself some leeway, wiggle room. He's had some wiggle room. Would you put it like that?
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. If that Partey deal wasn't done, we'd be having a very different conversation here. Do you know what I mean? I'd be saying Gabriel and Willian, that's not enough to, get us from 8th to top 4. That Partey deal, that gets him that leeway. So an improvement, but we need a little bit more. Put your hand in your pocket a little bit further, man.
And I don't know if the club intended it, but I think the way it ended with him at the last minute like that was very melodramatic. And I think that might have helped to sell it to the fans as well, because as I was saying to you, going into that last day, there was a lot of depression about. For us to land him in the way that we did on that last day with those announcements and that, it just added to the excitement. So
it did.
That was the intention of Arsenal, to pull it off in that way, to get that was done at the last minute. Then they played a bit of a blinder there because it worked.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm saying that let's put a bit of respect on his name. He's given himself some wiggle room, and we move on. But we will be watching this space to see who else we can bring in over the coming months. So that's I'm going to leave it there, and I would invite the viewers, the people watching, to let us know what they think about it. Is it time to put a bit of respect on Stan Kroenke's name, or are you still one of those that no, he should be doing a lot more? Please let us know. Please write in comments, messages, anything you want to do. Let us know, man. Right, okay, Curtis. There's no Ops of the Week. Our next game in the league is against Man City in a couple of weeks' time. In the meantime, there's some international games and international break, which I'm sure you'll be watching, won't you?
Well, I don't know about that. I'll be in no rush to watch them games, bro.
You sure?
Yeah, man. I don't know.
No, I mean, listen, man. There's 2 decent.
England, Wales.
That's like a home derby, and then you got a game against Belgium.
Yeah, that'll be decent.
Those games, I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, the Belgium game will be good.
I'm watching at home on TV, just like Jadon Sancho, Tammy Abrahams.
You know what? I love the fact that man are now saying, do you know what? Oh, it was a surprise party. I didn't know there was going to be more than 6 people there. I don't think these men respect Gareth, you know. They don't respect Gareth, do they, these England players, man?
I just think that these footballers live in a kind of parallel universe, man. I just genuinely think a lot of them just don't really, I'm not even sure if they care. I just think, maybe at times I think they don't think about it in the way that a lot of normal people do. Maybe they think the rules don't apply to them.
Yeah.
Week after week, you're hearing about this stuff. You think, wow, why didn't you just give it some thought? You know what I mean? I mean, okay, you're saying it's a surprise party, but even if it's a surprise party, how many people, as soon as you open the door and you see your house full of people, you must have realized, no, this is not going to work, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to know how that story got out there in the first place as well, actually.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And talking of Tammy, that's perhaps now we know why he was fighting over that penalty last week.
Maybe he needed the goal bonus money in it for the party that weekend.
Oh my God! So he didn't miss the weekends, did he? I mean, I with interest that Frank Lampard was saying over the game that he was reminded in no uncertain terms in the dressing room, you know, to play your position on the pitch and to forget about the penalties. So then he goes home, has a surprise party. He thinks, okay, I'm going to have a good birthday. And then by the Monday, all this stuff comes out and it's gone left for him again. So
crazy.
Probably didn't have the best of weekends, but hey. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I've certainly enjoyed listening to Curtis with his forthright and and knowledgeable explanations and thoughts. It's been great. What are you going to be up to over the next week or so, man? I know that you got a couple of games coming up for our AFTV FC football team. Shout out to all the guys in the team. We've got a couple of games coming up. One on Sunday and one the week after. So I know Curtis, he plays a starring role for us up front. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Another league campaign for us. Hopefully it finishes better than the last one, but that's why, you know, you've been brought in, Don Laurie, to fix what needed fixing in the background. So yeah, looking forward to that.
From the way that our manager Arteta's managing guys like Guendouzi and Ozil, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No messing about, innit?
Around, man. You know what I mean? Ruthless streak.
That's it, man. Yeah, looking forward to them games. Obviously, still putting content out on the channel. Just went past 15,000 subscribers, so big up everyone for the support. Yourself and Robbie as well.
No, excellent, great work, man. Great work.
Yeah, man.
Okay, thanks for that, and thanks to everyone for watching the show. Keep supporting, like, share, subscribe, and hope you'll tune into us next week. Thank you very much.
It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.